This unit is entitled Environmental Impact. We'll be focusing on two main questions. The first question is, how does the way we live impact our environment? The second question is, why are landforms important? To begin, we will build some background about the topic of environmental impact. The land was ours before we were the land's, wrote the poet Robert Frost. Since the earliest days of humans on Earth, people have adapted to the physical landscape around them. It shapes the food they eat, the homes they build, the way they move around, and the environment they live in. Studying environmental history involves understanding relationships and sometimes trade offs that people make with the landscapes around them. In this picture, you can see some adaptations that different animals have made, either through their behaviors or through their physical features. For example, opossums play dead to confuse predators. This was an adaptation that they had over time in order to protect themselves. Ducks have webbed feet to help them swim. Again, this is something that changed within them to make it easier for them to swim. So we'll be talking about some of the adaptations people have made in order to live in many of these different areas you see here. The land itself is the most important factor in human settlement. Do we live in the mountains or on the plains? In the forest, on a river, or on the beach? Or on an island? Rivers and oceans were the first human highways. Ships moved people and goods faster and easier than people and animals on land could. Mountains and forests impeded transportation, which could have been a problem or a benefit if it protected residents from outsiders. Oceanfront housing could provide a mild climate or subject inhabitants to brutal storms. Iowans are blessed with incredibly rich soil and rainfall, while desert people must be creative to grow food or raise livestock. Where we live has a major impact on the lifestyle of any people. The air humans breathe is also a factor in our environment. For most of human history, the quality of the air has not been impacted by human activity, as you can see in the first top picture. But with the Industrial Revolution and a demand for energy from fossil fuels like coal or gasoline, people have polluted the air with carbon products that can create a variety of challenges, like smog or acid rain, which you can see in the bottom pictures. Oxygen depleting pollutants have reconfigured the layers of air surrounding the Earth, leading to warming temperatures and evolving rainfall patterns. Water also is an important environmental factor. When water is in short supply, efforts sometimes divert rivers for agriculture or store it behind massive dams, like the picture on the left, to create hydroelectric power. Fertilizer runoff, as can be seen in the right picture, from farm fields seeps into underwater water reserves or flows into rivers and streams, altering natural balances. Some energy sources, like wind power or sunlight, are termed renewable energy sources because using them does not decrease their availability. Fuels derived from plant matter, like wood, natural gas, oil, or coal, are non renewable sources because they can be depleted or used up. For the most part, fossil fuels present the greatest environmental challenge because they increase the amount of carbon dioxide in the air. Nuclear fuels and a nuclear plant is in the far right picture, pose the danger of increased radioactivity when a reactor malfunctions and nuclear waste create a problem for disposal. When nations were conducting nuclear tests in the atmosphere, radioactive drift traveled far beyond the test site to threaten resources thousands of miles away. Environmental protection challenges a world divided into nation states because human activity can impact land, the air, and water far beyond the site where the activity occurs. Keeping our world safe is a truly world challenge. Now that we have some background on what environmental impact is and some of the things that can be impacted, let's look at a few key vocabulary terms you will need throughout the unit. First, we have the term landform, which is a natural feature of a land surface. On the left side, there are some examples of landforms. This is not all landforms, there are others. Some you may already be familiar with are mountains, volcanoes, islands, rivers, the ocean. Some that may be new might be the plains, canyon, plateau, and peninsula. We won't be learning about all of these, but we will learn about some. The next vocabulary word is desert, an area of dry land, usually with few plants. Here you can see a picture of a desert. There are some plants, but not very many varieties. Most of the terrain is brown or very olive green, like a dark green. Then we have plains, which is a large area of flat land. There aren't a lot of trees here. Mostly it's grass. Does this remind you of any place? Then forest, a wooded area of trees and other plants. We do have some forest areas in Marshalltown. Valley, a low area between hills or mountains. You can see that in the picture to the left, the sides go up and there is a lower part in the middle. That is the valley. Canyon, a deep valley with steep sides, often with a stream flowing through it. So this is similar to valley, but just much deeper, and the sides are not as curved. They're much more up and down, like straight up and down. And you can see the river flowing through this canyon. Plateau, an elevated landform that rises above the surrounding area and has a flat top. It's kind of like a mountain with the top cut off. I always remember plateau because of the word plate, which is something flat you can put something on. So that's how I remember what a plateau looks like. It reminds me of a plate. Those are some of the words that we will need in our unit moving forward. Please go back and review if you have any questions.